Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Numerous colorful aurora surrounded Bohinia Island, and the halos, displaying the mysteries of universe lore, constantly diffused up in the sky. Bohinia Island was home to palaces of diverse races. In one of the palaces were plenty sculptures of ancient swords. Suddenly, the gate to this palace opened. Out walked a figure. With eyes as sharp as blades and a mark of 7 battle swords between his eyebrows, this man, dressed in purple armor, looked like a battle sword himself. Shouted 2 chimpanzee-like beings from another race shouted at the figure from afar. 7-Blade Emperor. Blade River Emperor from the human race is quite something. 7-Blade Emperor, did you invite him to fight? 7-Blade Emperor had gained a treasure from the Land of Valuables, and as a result had become moderately famous on Bohinia Island. Furthermore, the treasure had been found at a spot reserved by a super being of the ancestral god school for its inheritors. Mediocre as 7-Blade Emperor might have been in the battles in the world of glory, he could be very intimidating with his 7-Blade inheritance, beast god great being inheritance, and formidable ability to survive in the real world. His good luck even invoked jealousy from numerous great beings among the human race. Thanks to the 7-Blade inheritance, 7-Blade Emperor and Dreamfire Emperor had become 2 undying level talents of their generations to be trained intensively by the human race. The beast god great being inheritance had made 7-Blade Emperor's status surpass that of Dreamfire Emperor among the human race. However, many races had no idea what the treasure was, since 7-Blade Emperor had kept the secret to himself. Even the automaton race, a peak race, only knew that he had gained some sort of inheritance. The Land of Valuables had numerous treasures left by the beast gods of the ancestral god school, including school-guarding beast gods, and beast god cultivating great beings. As for what the treasure was, it was difficult to tell. The treasure was not necessarily related to the beast god path. For example, if Luo Feng reached a high status in the future, he could also put some of the treasures he had acquired by chance, and didn't use, in the Land of Valuables for future generations. Therefore, apart from 7-Blade Emperor and the senior staff of the human race at the ancestral god school, none of the other factions knew the extent of how amazing 7-Blade Emperor's actual gains would be. Otherwise, no one would have tried to assassinate him. 7-Blade Emperor laughed with blade light flashing in his eyes. Ha ha. He is also a human. Now that so many great beings of other races have challenged him, why would I invite him to fight? By the way, do you know how many challenges Blade River Emperor has accepted? If you don't know, what makes you think we would? All we know is the number is over 10,000. Then the 2 chimp-like beings each took a step greater than 600 miles and disappeared in the distance. Standing in front of the palace, 7-Blade Emperor murmured to himself, over 10,000 battles. Blade River Emperor, the most incredible talent of the human race. I will never admit defeat to Blade River Emperor so easily. Having acquired his new treasure, 7-Blade Emperor believed that he had outclassed Dreamfire Emperor, thus becoming the best of his generation among humans. But now, Blade River Emperor was in his way. During the fight for Sealed Star in the battlefield of the outer regions, you were so insignificant that I barely noticed you, said 7-Blade Emperor. What a surprise that you are a sector lord. I know that you are madly accepting challenges to fight. For the first time, you have my full attention. I want to see your strength, for you are such a talent of the human race that even my teacher believes you are better than me. I don't know if you are overly confident, or just insane to agree to engage in over 10,000 battles. Soon, you will realize that all the heirs here are peerless talents. Even I am only considered mediocre in the world of glory. You will soon come around to this cruel reality. In the heartland of the ancestral god school, the Thunder Beast God Palace was one of the 8 palaces for beast gods. The palace was magnificent in appearance, standing taller than 60 million miles. Inside the palace was a time-space containing picturesque scenery including rivers, mountains, deserts, ice fields, and snow. Deep inside those endless ranges of mountains, a repetitive sound erupted like breathing. The diameter of the time-space exceeded a light year, and every ha filled it with pounding thunderbolts. And every hu filled it with roaring winds, destroying numerous mountains, drying up lakes and rivers, and swirling up sand from the deserts. Luckily, there were no other creatures in the whole time-space. Who dares interrupt my slumber? Echoed a rumbling voice. Several peaks of those endless mountains were pushed upward. A gigantic, winged, three-hoofed beast god covered in green hair longer than 50,000 miles, stood up. With every step it took, the earth shook and mountains collapsed. "Why does the ancestral god make me manage the trivialities of the school?" it growled. "The other 7 beast gods have slacked off and gone elsewhere, while I am the only one who has had to stay here for 100 million eras. Alas! How long have I slept? Only 30 million eras. I can leave only after staying for 70 million more eras." The time-space trembled as the hairy, giant beast god stepped forward. "Come on in." Thunder Beast God finally spoke up. The time-space of the Beast God Palace opened, and the God General that had been waiting outside entered the palace. "Greetings, Beast God," said a voice. "I am Blood Fire God General." Blood Fire God General flew across the sky and landed on the peak of a mountain, looking at the Beast God, which was much bigger than mountains, from afar. "I told you not to disturb my sleep unless there was something truly important," said Thunder Beast God, and the airflow that spurted from his nostrils wiped out the surrounding mountains. In the sky, more thunderbolts generated out of nowhere, as if expressing the fury of Thunder Beast God. Blood Fire God General saluted the Thunder Beast God and said, "Beast God, this is an important matter." The operating system of Ancestral God School left the Blood Fire God General with no choice but to solve many problems himself. The Beast Gods were so lazy that they didn't even bother to connect their consciousnesses to the world of glory. Apparently, sharing their consciousnesses irritated the Beast Gods. "Speak," Thunder Beast God demanded, looking down on the tiny Blood Fire God General. Having inherited the position of a God General, Blood Fire God General wielded strength that could rival common universe masters. As for Thunder Beast God, once it had inherited the supreme status of a Beast God, its strength would become even greater. "We have found a universe talent worthy of being trained by Ancestral God School," said Blood Fire God General. "A universe talent? You woke me up just for this." Thunderbolts flashed in Thunder Beast God's eyes. "He is only a sector lord, yet he can attack and kill an emperor limit," said Blood Fire God General. Said Thunder Beast God. "A powerful special organism." Thunder Beast God's eyes lit up. The Ancestral God School needed to cultivate great beings as well. For example, great emphasis was put on Zhu Chong Emperor for his cultivation. Once the Ancestral God School appreciated the great beings, things would turn out differently for them. But the issue was, the Ancestral God School was extremely picky. It didn't even care about the so-called peerless talents of the universe like Kudi. "No, he is a human," said Blood Fire God General, "but he was capable of killing an emperor limit even during his sector lord period, even hitting and killing from the front." Since he took the place of Beast Gods in managing Ancestral God School, Blood Fire God General had extensive secret knowledge. When it came to the law of how the universe worked, the Ancestral God School undoubtedly held the most profound understanding. "Kill from the front. This is against the law of the universe," said Thunder Beast God in a rumbling voice. With some extremely powerful treasures, it would be possible for a sector lord to kill emperors at the limit level by waging sneak attacks. But from the front, great beings of emperor limit level would defeat sector lords easily with their soul attacks and godly force attacks. According to the intelligence from the Ancestral God School, when he was in ice hell, he could conceal his breathing with an invaluable treasure, thus enabling him to fight with emperor limit, continued Blood Fire God General. And he could withstand soul attacks and substance attacks. His strength can even kill emperors at the limit level. There was light in Thunder Beast God's enormous eyes. He has received special treatment, enabling him to violate the laws of the universe in some respects without being suppressed by the law. Thunder Beast God knew very well what this meant. The universe was fair. Strength-enhancing armor such as general armor and king armor placed a great burden on one's body. For instance, only a body that was 10,000 times stronger than a sector lord force could put on the king armor. Even the golden horned beast could only wear it after cultivating the 9-volume manual. Hence, without the incredible 9-volume manual, it would be impossible to use general armor, king armor, general soul, and the like. Without these items, Luo Feng, as a sector lord, was just a common peerless talent who could, at best, rival Kudi, but couldn't kill an emperor limit. Violating the universe operation law without being suppressed by it, said Thunder Beast God in a rumbling voice. "From now on, I will pay close attention to him." "Thunder Beast God," said Blood Fire God General. "Because he has killed emperors at the limit level as a sector lord, he enjoys great fame in the universe. But he is a human, after all. What he has achieved is quite stunning, though no other factions understand the implications yet, except the ancestral god school. Ever since he arrived in Land of Inheritance, many heirs have invited him to fight. Just now, this human accepted all the challenges. All of them. Thunder Beast God was stupefied. Yes. All of them. Over 620,000 battles. 620,000 battles, said Thunder Beast God. What's his name? Blade River Emperor, said Blood Fire God General. Apparently, his real name is Luo Feng. Let's wait and observe the outcomes of these 620,000 battles, said Thunder Beast God. His opponents are peerless talents from all over the universe. I want to know how far this human being, who has run against the universe Operation Rule, can go. In the battle world of the World of Glory, in the endless desert. Luo Feng was dressed in black armor, and a pair of black battle boots and a pair of wings with scales. Wings were the most convenient way for Luo Feng to fly and dodge. Though I have not become immortal, I have felt the powerful godly body that is 100,000 times stronger than the force of a sector lord, said Luo Feng, looking at a shadow in the distance. A silver-gray snake-shaped monster was gradually rising from the desert. Its triangular-shaped head was high while its gigantic godly body appeared indistinct beneath the desert surface. With a trace of a smile on his face, Luo Feng said, "The first of my 620,000 battles." The silver-gray, snake-shaped monster slowly arose from the desert. With its triangular head high, it stared coldly at Luo Feng from afar, and squeaked in a voice millions of times jarring than scraping glass. "Blade River Emperor," it hissed. "How many glory points do you have? Do you dare to bet with me?" Like a shockwave, the voice stirred up vast quantities of sand. "You should feel honored to be my first opponent in the World of Glory," Luo Feng said, smiling amid the swirling sand. The silver-gray, snake-shaped creature glowered at Luo Feng. "Your first one? Ha ha. A pleasure for me, indeed. 3 glory points. Do you dare? I will choose 1 glory point to fight each of my rivals," said Luo Feng. Luo Feng was daring, but he wasn't stupid. Judging by his fight against Cha Man Emperor, he estimated that he could become one of the best among the third-stage inheritors, with his beast god conception and mighty willpower. However, if he wagered high stakes and lost all of his glory points right at the beginning, he wouldn't be able to battle with other rivals. After all, he had accepted over 620,000 battles, betting 1 glory point for each battle was surely enough. 1 point. Ha! What I want is to win and acquire all your glory points, so that the inheritors of other races can't battle against you, said the snake complacently. By then, all of Bohinia Island will know that Blade River Emperor was defeated by me, King Circumference. Luo Feng chuckled. Cut the nonsense. You're just my warm-up. Let's fight. Damn. With a jarring squeak, a stream of formidable current surged toward the sky, making the whole desert tremble. Very good, commented Luo Feng. Boom. With his eyes lit up, Luo Feng also augmented his breathing sharply and burned his undying godly body. Meanwhile, as his scaled wings fluttered, he turned into a beam of light and flew upward. As he flung his left hand fiercely, 600 golden beads flew across the sky. Simulated within the battle world of the World of Glory, the 600 golden beads were made from common materials that Pinnacle Emperor-level spirit readers used for forging weapons. As the beast god roared and King Circumference screeched, the battle began. Only seconds later, after a few dozen moves, the godly body of King Circumference was annihilated. No. King Circumference wailed. Its cold, snake-like eyes were fraught with fury. It refused to recognize that it had lost to a sector lord, especially under the conditions that they both fought in godly bodies. And then, its figure blurred until it vanished. Obviously, it had been kicked out of the battle world. Luo Feng had moved on to his second battle. During the interval between the two battles, Luo Feng looked at his black book. Indeed, 1 glory point had been added. 4 glory points, he said. The first rival that I chose just now ranked medium on the list of third-stage inheritors. Well, its strength was weaker than that of Cha Man Emperor. Without being pushed to his limit, Luo Feng had defeated his opponent. He still stood in the desert. Looking at his second rival in the distance, Luo Feng grinned. Here comes another one to give me their glory points. The battles continued. The open-air square of the World of Glory had turned into a state of commotion. At the moment, at least 100 million heirs, including 7-Blade Emperor, were connected to the World of Glory, for they had received word that Blade River Emperor had commenced taking on his challengers non-stop. What? One onlooker said to a defeated challenger. You lost to that Blade River Emperor. A sector lord. He has no treasures to turn to in the battle world, and you still lost. Ha ha. So useless to lose, another added. I hope Blade River Emperor doesn't lose all his glory points too soon. Watch me when it is my turn to fight him. In the beginning, the three great beings who lost one after another became objects of ridicule within their respective factions. Although the rest of the heirs sneered, they also put their guards up, because they knew the strengths of their partners. Since the open-air square was large enough for nearly 100 million inheritors to gather there, forming smaller groups of hundreds of or thousands of heirs, the news that 3 heirs had lost consecutively spread quickly within their factions. But Luo Feng was fighting very quickly. Because his godly body fully recovered after each fight, he didn't need to rest at all. Before long, he had fought 1,000 battles in succession. After about 11 hours, Luo Feng paused his fighting and decided to take a break. It took me about 11 hours to fight 1,000 battles, thought Luo Feng. Well, the actual time consumed by each battle averaged less than 10 seconds. It was the launch of every fight in the battle world and the conversations with my rivals that wasted so much time. Usually, Luo Feng didn't bother to speak too much except for some trash talk such as, give me your glory points, or die, or don't keep me waiting. Borhinia Island. In front of Luo Feng's mansion. Blade River, said a voice from outside. Blade River, said another. After 1,000 battles, Luo Feng had left World of Glory temporarily. He was about to rest when he heard his name called twice. He knew the voices belonged to Thousand Reign Emperor and Cha Man Emperor. As Luo Feng took a step, he disappeared from the attic and arrived at the gate to his mansion, opening the door in person. It was Cha Man Emperor, Thousand Reign Emperor, and another human heir standing outside the door. 7-Blade Emperor. Luo Feng said in shock. Dumbfounded, Luo Feng looked at this great being of the human race who had come to visit him. He had met 7-Blade Emperor in the Star Tower before. For the first time, the 7-Blade Emperor attentively observed Blade River Emperor, the mysterious fighter, who had stunned the universe. At first glance, Blade River Emperor was very common. But if anyone paid attention to Blade River Emperor's eyes, they would have felt the formidable strength harbored in his heart. The strength was the confidence brought by mighty willpower, indicating that Luo Feng was extremely self-assured. After Sky Wolf had revealed his identity, Luo Feng had felt relieved, and he had stopped hiding. Instead, he had become more fearless, ready to confront any obstacle. True gold feared no fire. And a blade became sharper after refining. 7-Blade Emperor, we meet a second time, Luo Feng said, with a trace of a smile at the corner of his mouth. Blade River Emperor, 7-Blade Emperor said with a smile. I didn't notice you last time, because I only cared about the sealed star. Now, here I am to meet the legendary Blade River Emperor. I wonder if my visit is welcomed. Of course. Luo Feng smiled and moved aside. Please come in, my 3 guests. Ha ha. I told you that Blade River Emperor is a very amiable friend, said Thousand Reign Emperor with a smile. Cha Man Emperor, meanwhile, kept his cool. Soon, the 4 of them entered the mansion together and arrived at the reception hall, where the garden style was that of Jiangnan, China, Luo Feng's hometown. There were only old-fashioned wooden armchairs and a tea table in the reception hall. Luo Feng sat in the center. Though 7-Blade Emperor, Thousand Reign Emperor, and Cha Man Emperor were confused about the layout, they noticed the 3 chairs alongside the table, and sat down casually. Blade River, said Cha Man Emperor. How many battles have you accepted? I have accepted every challenge issued to me, said Luo Feng. 7-Blade Emperor and Thousand Reign Emperor were slightly startled. How many is that? Asked Thousand Reign Emperor. Moments after you entered the open-air square of the World of Glory, you had received tens of thousands of challenges. The number must have climbed up afterward. Besides, by consulting other factions, the great beings of various races in the World of Glory have estimated that you must have accepted over 100,000 battles. It's hard to count the accurate number, because there are too many camps, but the number should be clear in a few days. Luo Feng smiled and said, that's right. I didn't receive too many challenges when I was new to World of Glory, but the number snowballed later. In total, I have accepted over 620,000 challenges. Considering that there are over 90 million third-stage inheritors, the fact that less than 1% challenged me isn't surprising. 620. CHA man emperor stammered in astonishment. 620,000. Thousand Reign Emperor's jaw dropped. Even Seven Blade Emperor was speechless for an instant. The number was horrifying. Everyone knew CHA man emperor had been here a long time, and he had accepted less than 1,000 challenges in all. When it came to fighting, the human race had to be extremely careful, because humans had already made plenty of enemies among the other races in the universe. You can kill emperors at the limit level as a sector lord, CHA man emperor sighed, shaking his head. You are so famous that it is believed that you are to be an unforgettable peerless talent. That is why those confident heirs of other races, no matter how cautious they are, want to fight you. Since the base number of total inheritors is over 90 million, it is to be expected that over 620,000 of them challenged you. We are here to congratulate you on your 989 victories during your 1,000 battles today, Thousand Reign Emperor said, laughing. Congratulations, said CHA man emperor. Earning over 900 glory points in one day, sighed the Seven Blade Emperor. That's sufficient to exchange for 9 inheritance opportunities. How I envy you. And this is only the first day of your battles. Luo Feng grinned, but said to himself, I still lost 11 times. Although his strength was at the peak, it didn't mean that he was the best of the third-stage inheritors. Among the 1,000 rivals Luo Feng had selected on his first day, there were stronger and weaker ones, but one should have known the different fighting styles or secret techniques that could restrain them. Usually, it was the great beings with confidence who would challenge Luo Feng, and almost every great being on the top level on Bohinia Island had invited Luo Feng to fight. And Luo Feng had accepted every challenge. Luo Feng's heart was filled with pride. I don't care about losing a few glory points, he said. After combating against so many heirs of other races, the losses are worthwhile. The second day, Luo Feng continued fighting. By reading their black books, the heirs of other races could see Luo Feng's battle records. On the ranking list of third-stage heirs, the numbers of wins and losses were clearly listed. That day, Luo Feng fought another 1,000 battles. He did so again on the third day. 1,000 battles every day. Then Luo Feng would take a break after fighting and continue likewise the next day. He kept fighting in this way, and thanks to his extremely high winning rates, Luo Feng's glory points skyrocketed, stunning numerous heirs of other races. Soon, it had been proven that Blade River Emperor was one of the best of all 90 million third-stage inheritors. As a result, many heirs who had wished to humiliate Blade River Emperor started to deeply regret their decision to challenge him. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't withdraw now that Luo Feng had accepted their challenges. Even if someone chose not to fight, 1 glory point would be deduced automatically. On the open-air square of the World of Glory, millions of heirs flipped through their black books frequently, viewing Luo Feng's combat records within the ranking of third-stage heirs. Today was the third day since Luo Feng commenced accepting his challenges. He had fought 2,700 battles. 2,682 wins, 18 losses, was his latest record. Why is this Blade River Emperor so powerful? Asked one challenger. It seems I am going to lose one of my glory points. I have always been very cautious when it comes to inviting others to fight in the battle world. I never choose anyone who ranks higher than me. I have tried my best to choose the weaker ones or someone on essentially the same level as me at best. Thanks to my caution, I have collected 51 glory points till this day. Now, I'm going to lose a point just like that. At this speed, the Blade River Emperor must have collected plenty of glory points. You don't say, said a great, sea monster-looking being with dozens of tentacles. He seemed rather bitter. I think I am going to lose my glory point to Luo Feng as well. Who would have known that this human was so strong? Alas! The hundreds of thousands of inheritors that have challenged him to fight shall suffer great losses. Although I didn't challenge him, I could understand everyone's thinking, offered another. How pleasant it would be to humiliate the legendary Blade River Emperor, who is such a powerful sector lord, even without any external assistance. He is absolute. Almost every conversation in the open-air square was about Blade River Emperor. The inheritors were incredibly irritated. Even as the heirs spoke, Luo Feng's winning rates went up sharply. 2,779 wins, 19 losses. 2,789 wins, 19 losses. 2,811 wins, 19 losses. 2,889 wins, 19 losses. The heirs, who had to fight so hard to gain one glory point, now felt rather embarrassed. If the Blade River Emperor had shown his strength in the world of battle from the beginning, never would so many heirs have sacrificed their glory points to challenge him. The heirs treasured their glory points dearly, but regret was futile. Perhaps Blade River Emperor is just an outlier, said one heir, sighing deeply. It's unusual to collect glory points in such a great amount. How could one ever hope to be like Luo Feng? Firstly, they would have to be famous among the billions of races in the universe. Few great beings had enjoyed fame to this extent. Secondly, they would have to be sector lords. Otherwise, the heirs of other races would not challenge them so readily. The heirs were not stupid. Only when facing sector lord level heirs would these peerless talents believe they could win. In the history of the Ancestral God School, Luo Feng was not the only sector lord who had arrived at the land of inheritance, but few sector lords had done this. Among these few sector lords, two were very famous, but neither had willpower as strong as Luo Feng's. After these battles, Luo Feng's strength had convinced numerous heirs on Bohinia Island. Without any external assistance, Luo Feng, as a sector lord, was able to stand on the peak of the third stage fighters during combats in the battle world. Some superpowers of the universe had noticed Luo Feng long ago. Once a large number of challenges began, many heirs sent the information back to their clans. In front of the magnificent Sky Wolf Palace, roaring sounds trembled the entire area, which was filled with flames as large as fixed stars. Kill! 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 The master of Sky Wolf's eyes were fraught with malice. The human, Blade River Emperor, must not live. Lurking among the void before Sky Wolf Palace, the giant snake Shadow was alarmed by Master of Sky Wolf's rage. His law comprehension is surprisingly strong to rank as one of the best among the third stage heirs, Master of Sky Wolf roared. He can compare himself with innumerable peerless talents of diverse races. He must be about to fulfill the third stage of Beast God inheritance. And as far as law comprehension, he is also close to that of Universe Knights. As long as he wants to, he can become an undying fighter at any time, continued Master of Sky Wolf. Once he has become undying, coupled with his plentiful glory points, his alarming amount of inheritance opportunities from the Ancestral God School, plus with his comprehension, which is very close to that of Universe Knights, it would be a simple matter for him to become a Universe Knight. Then it will be difficult to have him killed. Master of Sky Wolf issued an order. Hurry up. Devise a plan and report it to me. We must kill this human quickly. Right, the giant snake Shadow bowed and said respectfully. Suddenly, Master of Sky Wolf's green eyes shot out two green rays, landing on the giant snake Shadow. Go, he said. Boom. Removed from this time-space, the giant snake Shadow arrived at a time-space beyond Sky Wolf Palace's control. Then it teleported and vanished. Human. Grumbled Master of Sky Wolf as he stood before the palace. His green eyes were constantly flickering with the intention to kill. Among the universe masters of the demon clans, Master of Sky Wolf was surely one of the most cunning and cruel. When I saw Blade River Emperor before, I didn't take him seriously, because he was just an insignificant sector lord. Unexpectedly, he can still defeat most of the heirs in the battle world, even without the help of many treasures from the outside world. His law comprehension is amazingly insightful. If he is assisted by a large number of inheritance opportunities. Master of Sky Wolf now deemed Blade River Emperor a major threat to demons in the future. In the mysterious and desolate star domain. In the void, a black ripple expanded outwards in concentric circles. At the core of the black ripple was an enormous black throne standing tens of thousands of miles tall. At the top of the back of the throne, 18 golden skulls of various races were embedded. The black throne was at the core of the endless black ripple that covered billions of miles of the void. Anyone looking upon this throne might have mistaken it for an endless sea of blood, with its 18 embedded golden skulls howling at all times. Master. A great being with 9 scorpion tails lay on the verge of the ripple. Its voice penetrated the ripple. Here is the news from our clan's heirs in the Ancestral God School. The human, Blade River Emperor, has agreed to engage in hundreds of thousands of fights. Currently, he has only lost 19 out of 2,781 battles. He is, without a doubt, the best of the best Emperor Undying level inheritors on Bohinia Island. And it is predicted that he will be able to exchange his points for a surprising amount of inheritance opportunities. It is highly possible that he will become a universe knight in the future. Ha ha. Soul-penetrating laughter was heard from the Black Throne, causing the previously calm time-space to tremble and stirring up a black wave, as if innumerable black dragons were chasing one another and wandering in the void. A peerless talent has emerged from the human race, said the voice, and he is about to become a peerless great being. It is not us, the prison clan, but the human race's neighbors, the automaton race, demon race and bug clan, who are most anxious about this situation. Ha ha. Just wait and see. The assassination attempts targeting this human peerless talent are about to begin. I look forward to seeing whether this human will become a peerless great being after the brutal obstacles, or fail miserably along the way. Ha ha. Go. Go. The laughter from the Black Throne echoed in the time-space. At the end of the black wave, the great being with 9 scorpion tails bowed and vanished. The creatures of the prison race, one of the 6 pinnacle races, had their roots in a peculiarly dangerous place of the universe, but they had survived the perilous place and made a name for themselves. The physiques, appearances, and the life essences of these prison race great beings varied. Some were rock creatures while others were made of flesh and blood. But they shared one thing in common. They were all born in that peculiarly dangerous place. A place that they called prison, from which they took their name. Forged by numerous crystals, a cluster of magnificent palaces covered a region in several light years. Within the cluster of crystal palaces, planets, fixed stars, and neutron stars were like ornaments embedded everywhere. A high tower among the palaces stood 3.2 light-years tall. Its razor-sharp spire shot a bright ray upward into the depths of the boundless, starry sky. Everywhere this ray traveled, a hole would be pierced on any planet or fixed star. The power of this ray could reach almost the entire star field before it completely declined. Many great beings resided within the cluster of palaces. In front of the tower, 2 universe knights stood guard. They had impeccable appearances and perfect bodies forged by crystals. Their heights were almost the same, and they both wore dark green ancient armor that emitted formidable force. Between their eyebrows, they both had a golden eye issuing invisible waves in all directions and supervising the vast areas around the high tower. Inside the tower. My lord, that is how the situation is, a great being said, kneeling in the hall. Above the hall stood a great being with a gleaming, crystal-cast godly body, dressed in a resplendent golden robe. As the golden eye between his eyebrows gazed below, it seemed that the heart of the universe knight below was pierced through. How interesting, said the great being, and though the voice was gentle, it possessed a persuasive power. The human race usually wins due to their large population, and every human possesses tremendous potential. How unexpected that such a talent has emerged among them. Issue my order that the human, Blade River Emperor, has been listed as an invincible level creature of another race. Yes, my lord. Powerhouses of the universe including as the 6 pinnacle races, the Space Beast Alliances, and the Northern Border Alliances had all received the news. At the summit of Thunder Island in the virtual universe was the Palace of Primal Chaos Energy. A blurry phantom stood before the palace. And then, he walked into the center of the hall and said respectfully, Primal Chaos City Leader, assassination attempts against Luo Feng are almost a certainty. How should we handle this operation? Please give us your instructions. Assassinations, said the voice of the Primal Chaos City Leader. Shadow, how can you be so sure? Startled, the blurry phantom said, Blade River Emperor has agreed to fight over 620,000 battles. And don't you know about the results of his latest 3,000 battles? I sent you messages long ago. Luo Feng has accepted 620,000 battles. The figure dressed in golden globe walked out from the Primal Chaos Energy. It was the Primal Chaos City Leader. As he touched the void slightly, 3 messages fell one by one. Obviously, he had read none of the messages the Shadow Emperor had sent him. Primal Chaos City Leader had an extremely high status both within the human race and the Hong Alliance, so lots of issues would go to the city leader directly through virtual messages. However, there were different classifications of mail, and the leader would only read the urgent mail. Under ordinary circumstances, the leader would read them when he was free. Shadow Emperor was in charge of the intelligence department of the Virtual Universe Company and the Hong Alliance. He was one of the universe overlords. The news of Luo Feng, as in Blade River Emperor, was known by the seniors of the human race. Shadow Emperor, of course, also knew about it. What? Primal Chaos City leader said in surprise, holding the messages. He won 2,979 times out of 3,000 battles. Yes, Primal Chaos City leader, Shadow Emperor said with veneration. I didn't expect him to achieve that. Primal Chaos City leader was indeed thrilled. The top ones out of the 90 million heirs were all equals. Luo Feng could either win or lose when he was fighting his rivals. Luo Feng has a bright future ahead of him. Shadow Emperor, who was in charge of Hong Alliance Intelligence Department and known for his indifference and eerie presence, smiled. Ha ha. More than 26,000 battles. The Primal Chaos City leader laughed, and his voice echoed in the palace. If he keeps the winning rate, God knows how many glory points he will earn. He can trade 100 glory points for one inheritance, and he can get numerous inheritances. The ancestral god school might cultivate a supreme being of our human race this time. No one doubted that even the demon race, prison race, and other superpowers in the universe thought that if nobody stopped Blade River Emperor, he would grow to be a supreme being of the human race. A terrifying creature. Nobody could tell how long that would take. That was why they needed to kill him before he reached that stage. Primal Chaos City leader, not only could Luo Feng earn a great many inheritances with such a winning rate, but he also shows how deep his comprehension of laws is, Shadow Emperor said with a slight bow. The bug race, the demon race, and the automaton race will no doubt try to assassinate him in the near future, before Luo Feng can become a universe knight. City leader, what should we do about it? Assassinate him. Primal Chaos City leader nodded and said, the demon race, the bug race, and the automaton race have all sorts of methods to do that. However, my disciple is now in the ancestral god school, and they can do virtually nothing about it. The only feasible way for them is to ask the powerful heirs to kill Luo Feng. Yes. Shadow Emperor nodded. The ancestral god school could not be infiltrated. Peak races like the demon race would rather Luo Feng became a supreme being than risk sending someone to trespass there. I'll deal with it, the Primal Chaos City leader said. And have some faith in my disciple. I'll leave now. Shadow Emperor bowed. Go. Primal Chaos City leader nodded. Shadow Emperor had become the person in charge of the intelligence department of the Hong Alliance, because he was from the Virtual Universe Company. The Virtual Universe's terrific efficiency of information sharing attracted the other races in the universe to place spies within it and classified communications methods, even though they were often cracked and cost the other races dearly. That was why he had become the person in charge of the intelligence department of the Hong Alliance so quickly after being in charge of the intelligence department of the Virtual Universe. His power was so enormous that it could rival the sum of the palace leaders within the Hong Alliance. The bug race, the demon race, and the automaton race had stopped observing. The bug race had already come up with a plan to commit the assassination of Luo Feng. Inside the virtual universe of the bug race, surrounded the endless clouds and mist, was a beautiful floating island. There lived one bug clan queen after another, all of them with beautiful wings resembling butterflies and transparent bodies like crystals. As they played, their figures were so breathtaking that other creatures could not help but want to protect them. Look, it's one of the other races, said one of the queens. It's Kong Wan clan from our Bug Race Alliance, said another. The Bug Clan queens looked at a figure with prominent cuticles wearing a mask. Dressed in ancient black armor, the powerful warrior from the Kong Wan clan arrived at the center of the island in no time. On the island stood a palace made of wood. The door opened, and the masked warrior of the Kong Wan clan walked in without being stopped by the guards. Greetings, Universe Master, from Zhuguang of Kong Wan clan, said the masked figure with a bow. On the wooden throne in the palace sat a beautiful creature that could mesmerize even the most powerful souls. A colorful mist surrounded her. Zhuguang Knight, she said. Her voice was clear and melodious. Do you know what I want you to do for me? I do, Zhuguang Knight answered with veneration. Do you have anything to say? The one sitting on the throne asked. Universe Master chose me because, firstly, I'm an heir, Zhuguang Knight said. Secondly, I've decided to give up on the beast god path, because I didn't make enough improvements, and I'm planning to follow the path of space and time. Thirdly, I have my alternative bodies. And finally, as one of the Kong Wan clan, I'm proficient in mind control. It'll be most cost-effective for me to assassinate Blade River Emperor. Yes, you are indeed the most suitable one out of everyone in Bug Race Alliance, said the creature on the throne. However, you shall pay a huge price. Losing one of the bodies of a universe knight will cost you dearly. Besides, you'll lose the opportunity to inherit and step into the ancestral god school forever. Zhuguang Knight stood still, listening respectfully. The Alliance will compensate you for everything you'll lose, the beautiful creature said. Do you have any idea how you will assassinate him? Based on what I know, Blade River Emperor has been accepting challenges, and he stays in his palace the rest of the time, Zhuguang Knight said. An heir has absolute control over its own palace. If anyone dares to trespass, the five-color Aurora Lake will attack the trespasser and kill it instantly. I can only wait for the human to step out. Will you lure him out? Asked the creature on the throne. The most tedious way, but also the best way, is simply to wait for the human to step out, Zhuguang Knight said respectfully. The beautiful creature looked down at Zhuguang Knight and smiled. You are calm. However, I have to remind you that you had better utilize mind control over Blade River Emperor. Once you take his mind, the humans might turn back time and resurrect him. Of course, you can also choose to kill him directly if you can't control his mind. Yes, Zhuguang Knight answered respectfully. Borhinia Island. Zhuguang Knight walked slowly while all the other heirs tried to keep their distance from him, showing respect for a universe knight, who demanded deference. Zhuguang Knight was pleased by this. However, he frowned when he saw the distant palace resembling Earth's Jiangnan. I'm a universe knight here, he said. However, to creatures in my clan and the Bug Race Alliance, I'm nothing compared to that human. The only way to kill Blade River Emperor is to allow myself to be killed by the five-color Aurora Lake. The most terrifying proposition is to then be confined to living a secret life ever after, or being confined only to the territory of Bug Race, otherwise, the human race will kill me to revenge their peerless talent. Pathetic. Zhuguang Knight felt helpless and hopeless. Even his clan couldn't resist the order of the Bug Race, let alone him. Perhaps he was indeed powerful on an individual level, but he was nothing compared to the peak creatures of the universe. 2 days later. The shadowy, snake-like creature stood the peak of a mountain and looked down. Sacrifice myself to kill him. Master of Sky Wolf promised to bring me back by reserving the time. However, I will lose the opportunity to follow the beast god path forever even if I'm resurrected. Also, I'll be hunted until the end of time by the human race. He could practically still hear the roaring of the Master of Sky Wolf. Kill him. The automaton race, the demon race, and the bug race had all sent their powerful ones. However, they had all sent knights of other races rather than those from their own races. They had to pay the other races rather than be too tyrannical in their demands. That was the price of preserving the alliance. Time passed, and Luo Feng continued to fight 1,000 battles a day, as was his routine. The demon race, the bug race, and the automaton race all awaiting the good news. They all knew that humans had already perceived that they would try to assassinate Luo Feng. However, they thought that unless Blade River Emperor hid in his palace, or was guarded by a universe knight every time he stepped out of his palace, someone would surely make good on the first chance to kill him. Rumble. In the world of battle, Luo Feng, clothed in black armor, flew above a city in ruins. He had black wings on his back, and as he waved his hands, 600 golden balls flew back. After almost 2 years and more than 620,000 battles, Luo Feng had finally finished them all. All the battles are finished, Luo Feng whispered as he looked at the waves of godly power afar. On Borhinia Island, there were plenty of palaces for the heirs from different races. Several thousand miles away from Luo Feng's mansion, there was an ancient mansion like a massive dead tree, which was the residence for an emperor-level heir from the Bug clan. On top of the manor, a universe knight stood silently. Orders from the Alliance, said the light perception knight to the emperor-level heir. I am to stay at your palace temporarily, and you must not divulge this information. Yes, the heir replied respectfully. Knight, if you want me to do anything for you, please tell me. I will be in the silent room. All right. Off you go. The light perception knight nodded. After the heir left, the light perception knight was the only one on the top floor. Sitting with his legs crossed, he looked over the railings at the space before Blade River Emperor's mansion in the distance. Although the Bug Clan Alliance has nearly 10,000 heirs on Borhinia Island, only a few dozen of them can see Blade River Emperor's mansion clearly from their dwellings, Light Perception Knight said to himself. This is the only way to watch over him. Once Blade River Emperor comes out, I can spot him. Today, his battles come to an end. He will probably come out. Light perception night stared at Luo Feng's mansion. In total, 626,183 heirs had challenged Luo Feng. Only days after Luo Feng commenced his battles, various clans had contacted each other and confirmed that this was the correct number. As Luo Feng fought 1,000 battles every day, today was the day he was scheduled to finish all the battles. With a bit of his consciousness connecting to the world of glory, Light Perception Night looked at Luo Feng's ever-changing battle records in the Black Book. The last 32 battles, he muttered. At the thought of Luo Feng's formidable battle records, Light Perception Night couldn't help but have mixed feelings. The tremendous number of glory points owned by Luo Feng was simply unbelievable, rendering Light Perception Night envious. Prior to Blade River Emperor, no others had ever gained this many glory points. If the rest of the great beings knew that you were so powerful, they wouldn't challenge you unless they were confident enough to win, Light Perception Night said to himself. If I could possess these glory points, I might have the chance to become a universe overlord. He checked the book again. All the battles have concluded. With his eyes lit up, Light Perception Night stared at Luo Feng's mansion more intensively. Apart from the 3 knights sent from the Automaton clan, the Bug clan, and the Demon clan, several great beings from other powerhouses were also watching silently. Though they did not step in, they didn't mind viewing a significant battle. Those powerhouses had already speculated that the 3 pinnacle races adjacent to the human race would not allow Blade River Emperor to continue growing stronger. Only the toughest side would survive this battle. Everyone was waiting silently. 1 hour went by. Then 2 hours. Then 3 hours. Including the Light Perception Night, the 3 knights were hidden in 3 different places where they could observe Blade River Emperor's mansion. All of them waited patiently, including the great beings of the other powerhouses. Perhaps Blade River Emperor is tired after fighting continuously for so long. He will probably come out soon. A day went by. Then 2 days. Then 3 days. Finally, the Universe Knights and Emperor-level heirs that had been continuously staring at Luo Feng's mansion became a bit restless. Is Blade River Emperor going to hide in his mansion forever? They wondered. But he must go out to accept his inheritances at the inheritance passageway before the palace of Bohinia Island, right? The other clans were quite bewildered. But the fact was, Luo Feng had never come out. The virtual universe, the 9-star bay of Black Dragon Mountain. For the past few days, Luo Feng had done nothing but spend time with his family. Although he was insanely persistent about his cultivation, he could not neglect his family, and he admitted that he owed them a lot. Dad, you know what, said Luo Ping with a laugh. Younger brother caused big troubles while adventuring in the universe. But what's amazing was that the sovereign of Ganwu, the most powerful being in the Ganwu universe, saved him. Shushin couldn't help but say, Luo Feng, discipline your son. He indeed has made a mess this time. What's the matter? Luo Feng looked at his son, Luo Hai, curiously. Nothing, said Luo Hai. I just wanted to make a name for myself with my strength without showing off my identity while adventuring in the universe. And then I pissed someone off. Luo Hai pursed his lips. He was very arrogant, because he had an undying level emperor teacher. So what? My dad is the disciple of the primal chaos city leader. Why should I be afraid of that douchebag? So, you guys fought? Luo Feng also smiled. Luo Hai nodded. Yes. That idiot was barely able to beat me, all right. However, his undying level emperor teacher showed up in the end. Furiously, he attacked me, and the plants that I brought with me were no match for him. Because I was adventuring with my friends from Ganwu, the news that we got involved in a fight with that douchebag traveled back to Ganwu swiftly. Unexpectedly, the sovereign of Ganwu showed up in person and protected us. Luo Feng was a bit surprised that, over the course of 10,000 years, his son had, for the first time, provoked a great being who was an undying level emperor. Be more cautious next time, said Luo Feng. Since his son Luo Hai wanted to follow his path and become a great being, it was expected that he would encounter some dangers and setbacks. All his son could do was remain alert. Luo Feng, the sovereign of Ganwu, has treated our family well, said Shushin. Not only did he save Luo Hai a few years ago, but he also bestowed us a large patch of territories as big as 12 starfields a year ago. What's more, those territories were the 12 starfields around our hometown, Black Dragon Mountain Starfield. The royals of the Ganwu universe were the ones who had made such an arrangement to compensate the royals of those 12 starfields. A year ago, Luo Feng was a bit startled. At that time, he had been halfway through his battles against the 620,000 heirs. It seems that the sovereign of Ganwu is well informed, said Luo Feng to himself. Without visiting Luo Feng, the Ganwu emperor had quietly helped the Luo family time and again, and had even saved Luo Feng's son Luo Hai. Usually, the Ganwu emperor would not know about such a triviality as Luo Hai and his friends being in danger. Apparently, the Ganwu emperor must have instructed that any information about Luo Hai be delivered to him directly. That was the only explanation for why the Ganwu emperor could arrive at the battlefield so swiftly. Emperor of Ganwu, I will remember your favor, Luo Feng said to himself. 9 days had passed since Luo Feng had finished his battles. On Bohinia Island, the great beings of the various races that wanted to kill Luo Feng were still waiting patiently for him to come out. Luo Feng's mansion, in a pavilion close to a lake. Filled with enormous pride, Luo Feng held a wine glass and said to himself, 621,081 wins, and 5,102 losses. Over 610,000 glory points. With every 100 glory points, I can exchange for 1 inheritance opportunity. Ha ha. Those heirs of other clans planned to humiliate me, but it is I who have benefited significantly. Every single one of my 620,000 or so rivals were peerless talents, but only 6 were undoubtedly stronger than me. Though plenty other rivals defeated me, they got lucky, just as I was lucky enough to beat other heirs. In respect to accumulated points, Luo Feng ranked first. After all, his 621,081 wins were an impressive feat. The great being who ranked second only had 9,822 wins. In terms of win-loss ratio, this runner-up, who had won 9,822 times and lost only 3 times, was far better than Luo Feng. In summary, 6 of the 9 most potent third stage heirs had battled against Luo Feng. Besides that, nearly 10,000 heirs whose power had been on the same level as Luo Feng had fought him. After so many battles, I have gained more comprehension about the Tao of Beast God. Nevertheless, there's no rush for me to accept my inheritances, for it's only been 2 years since my last inheritance. I need to concentrate on internalizing the experience I have gained from these 620,000 battles before I receive the inheritances. Through this opportunity, I should completely understand the third stage inheritance. After that, I can set out to search for the special life suitable for my third body. Luo Feng had made detailed plans a long time ago, and couldn't afford any sloppiness. Without any hesitation, Luo Feng sat with his legs crossed and started to study the Tao of Beast God above the pavilion near a lake. On Bohinia Island, Light Perception Knight and the other 2 knights still waited anxiously for Luo Feng to appear. The heirs from other powerhouses had already given up. Many of them cursed Luo Feng secretly. He has been hiding in his house without going out, they said. What a hideous and spineless human. But with so many glory points, how could you not go to the land of inheritance? 1 year passed. Then 2 years. 3 years. 100 years. 200 years. 300 years. In the beginning, the Light Perception Knight observed Luo Feng's mansion with his full attention for 3 years. He also cursed him secretly. Later, as he started to cultivate, he only used a bit of his consciousness to watch over Luo Feng and didn't bother to curse the human anymore. As time went by, the Light Perception Knight brought out an intelligent robot and opted to let the robot supervise Luo Feng's mansion. He didn't want to watch Luo Feng's dwelling place any longer. Just wait, he muttered. One day, you will go to receive inheritances, and I'll be waiting for you. Light Perception Knight had no other option but to wait. In a blink of an eye, 900 years had passed. Wow! 900 years of contemplation, Luo Feng said joyfully. Those 620,000 battles were especially beneficial to me. I have achieved amazing progress in space law comprehension and beast god conception. And I am close to fulfilling the third stage of the Tao of Beast God. Luo Feng had been cultivating the law of the fusion of space and gold. By comprehending fusion, Luo Feng had also gained more insights about space. Now, both my original earthling body and my golden horned beast second body can teleport, he thought. But I still need to comprehend the other 2 major aspects regarding space law. Suddenly, Luo Feng stood up. Time to go out. If I go to receive inheritances now, I believe that I can fulfill my third volume right away. Luo Feng looked at the gate to his mansion in the distance. Moments later. Amid the silence, Luo Feng pulled open his mansion's gate, which issued a squeaking sound, and walked out with a smile. At this time, no heirs were personally watching Luo Feng's residence. Even the 3 universe knights had arranged robots, or slaves to do their job, who now reported the news. My lord, the door is open. My lord, Blade River Emperor has come out. My lord, he is here. With a great shudder, the 3 universe knights in 3 dwellings on Bohinia Island woke up. In an instant, several other heirs, who had also sent out slaves or robots to monitor Blade River Emperor's mansion, were on the move as well. Light Perception Knight heard his intelligent robot servant scream eagerly. He opened his eyes and saw Luo Feng step out of the door. Blade River Emperor. Hostility flashed through Light Perception Knight's eyes, and murderous rage filled his heart. He had waited 900 years for this moment. A universe knight for a sector lord. You should be flattered, Blade River Emperor. Light Perception Knight suddenly disappeared. The seniors from Northern Territory Alliance, Prison Race Alliance, and the 9 Territory Alliance stared at the palace of Blade River Emperor. The seniors had clear orders, and the demon race, the automaton race, and the bug race would send assassins to kill the human, Blade River Emperor. Do you think it will be the doom of Blade River Emperor, or the loss of the 3 peak races, they mused. How will they kill Blade River Emperor? Over 10,000 heirs were watching in secret, holding their breath. Luo Feng walked out the door with a smile on his face. He waved his hands, and the door closed. Without any warning, a huge figure appeared in front of Luo Feng. It was a beast from another race, and it was covered with mud. Its eyes looked misty but filled with aggressiveness. Rumble. The beast fluttered towards Luo Feng at an incredibly fast speed. Its body emanated an aura that could tremble the surroundings. Its godly body was burning. Said Luo Feng. Light Perception Knight witnessed the beast covered with mud appearing by teleportation. He was dazed. Mud-swallowing Knight. Light Perception Knight was sharp enough to evade the scene by flying 1,000 miles away. That mud-swallowing Knight is trying to kill Blade River Emperor too. Light Perception Knight was surprised. I'll watch first. I only teleported nearby, without attacking him first. So the 5-color Aurora Lake wouldn't I planned to kill Luo Feng. I'll see how this plays out. Luo Feng was attacked by mud-swallowing Knight's burning godly body the moment he stepped out of his palace. Shawu Wing. Luo Feng shouted, his body trembling. Wings appeared at his back, and he tried to dodge the attack. Rumble. A beam of godly power drilled into Luo Feng's brain, trying to control Luo Feng. Trying to make me a slave, said Luo Feng. It won't be that easy. Luo Feng had an incredibly firm will. Under the attack of the godly power, Luo Feng's soul wasn't tempted at all. Went. Tower Pearl was guarding the beast god soul and defended it from that godly power. Mud-swallowing Knight, who had moved quite close to Luo Feng, was surprised to find that he had failed to control Blade River Emperor's mind. He was a universe knight, and even burning his godly body wasn't enough to do it. Rumble. The 5-color Aurora Lake, which was normally tranquil, started to vibrate fiercely. Traces of aurora dove toward Mud-swallowing Knight. However, Mud-swallowing Knight was already burning his godly body before Luo Feng, and he was speedy. He didn't even glance at the terrifying 5-color aurora. Die. Mud-swallowing Knight opened his mouth. His enormous tongue, covered with drops of muddy water, came at Luo Feng like a charging wall. This was one of his talent techniques. His tongue had tremendous eroding power. Even universe knights' godly bodies couldn't resist it. Luo Feng's Shawu Wing was indeed fast, but it couldn't compare to a universe knight's burning godly body. Mud-swallowing Knight stuck out his tongue like a frog, and it struck fast as lightning. Luo Feng was captured before he could move a muscle. Luo Feng looked at Mud-swallowing Knight the second he was captured. Mud-swallowing Knight disregarded it. The second that giant tongue entangled Luo Feng, the eroding power went to work. Shawu Wing wasn't eroded in the slightest, but Luo Feng's armor immediately started to crack. Holes were burned through it. The tongue ate through the armor and lashed against Luo Feng's body like a whip. The eroding power didn't kill Luo Feng, but the force was extraordinary. Rumble. Even with Luo Feng's defending power, his body could not stand up to the powerful attack. In an instant, he was annihilated, his body turned into nothing. All that was left was his broken armor, his complete wings, the Tower Pearl, the star map, a drop of General Soul, and his solid world ring. 5-color auroras dived. They were like beams of lightning arrows, and they locked the surrounding space, preventing Mud Swallowing from teleporting himself to freedom. He was within the range of 5-color Aurora Lake. Ha ha! Mud Swallowing Knight lifted his head and roared. He stared at the diving Aurora. There was no shame in dying at the hands of the guarding true treasure of the ancestral god school. The auroras were over 10,000 kilometers long. However, they were shrinking as they fell, narrowing to the size of arrows. The arrows pierced through Mud Swallowing Knight's body. Instantly, most of the body vanished like foam. A moment after that, what little remained also disappeared while the auroras flew back. Everything went silent. The 5 auroras were still flying gradually. The damaged ground in front of Luo Feng's palace was suddenly fully repaired, as spotless as a snowfield in ice hell. Dead. Gasped Light Perception Knight. He had watched from afar. The 5-color Aurora Lake, ranked among the most powerful true treasures in the universe, was so mighty that it had annihilated a universe Knight instantly. The 5-color Aurora Lake was indeed terrifically forceful. Light Perception Knight felt fortunate, scared, and regretful all at once. Anyway, now that Blade River Emperor is dead, I'll report back to the bug race, Light Perception Knight thought. The heirs watching the events from afar were all dazed. Blade River Emperor died. Just like that. He's dead. He was annihilated. And they began to spread the news. Among the stars, Master of Sky Wolf received the news almost at the same time. Ha ha. Mud Swallowing Knight killed Blade River Emperor, he growled gleefully, surrounded by flames. Ha ha. He's dead. That annoying little one is dead. I hope Mud Swallowing Knight managed to control his mind before he was killed. Either way, I've achieved my goal. The Primal Chaos City leader was trying to protect that human all this time. What a shame. Even the Primal Chaos City leader wouldn't dare trespass on the holy grounds of the ancestral god school. Master of Sky Wolf stood in front of Sky Wolf Palace and roared joyfully, shaking all of the surrounding space, exhilarated not only because the human genius had been destroyed, but because he had finally gained his revenge. On Bohinia Island, lots of flying shadows approached. Almost all the heirs from the various races came out of their palaces. The energy waves created by Mud Swallowing Knight's burning godly body had been massive, and the auroras from the 5-color Aurora Lake had rocked the surrounding space. Everyone knew that something terrible had happened. What happened? Said Seven-Blade Emperor as he arrived. He had teleported himself to Luo Feng's palace the second he sensed the waves caused by a universe Knight's burning godly power. He had witnessed the auroras killing Mud Swallowing Knight, but Mud Swallowing Knight's tongue had shrouded Luo Feng's body by the time he'd made it there, so Seven-Blade Emperor hadn't even seen Luo Feng. Who did Mud Swallowing Knight kill? Why did the auroras come down? Seven-Blade Emperor asked, confused. Seven-Blade Emperor, answered several onlookers. Cha Man Emperor, Li Emperor, and Thousand Rain Emperor all arrived via teleportation. Who died? Asked Thousand Rain Emperor. Who did the 5-color Aurora Lake kill? They were less informed than Seven-Blade Emperor, and hadn't even witnessed the death of Mud Swallowing Knight. It was Mud Swallowing Knight, said Seven-Blade Emperor, but I don't know who he killed. Seven-Blade Emperor's eyes went wide as he noticed the treasures scattered in front of the palace. They belonged to Mud Swallowing Knight and Luo Feng. Mud Swallowing Knight had known he was going to die. Hence, he had left his precious treasures elsewhere. Luo Feng, on the other hand, had left quite a few. The most eye-catching one was the set of giant silver wings. Blade River Emperor was known for those wings, and rumor had it that the wings were a true treasure. Those wings, it was Blade River Emperor. Seven-Blade Emperor was dazed. He had already made up his mind to surpass Blade River Emperor, never expecting that something like this would happen. It was Blade River Emperor who died. Blade River Emperor was killed by Mud Swallowing Knight. The voices of discussions among the other races came from afar. The Sector Lord who had garnered widespread fame across the universe, the heir who had gone through 620,000 battles and won a considerable number of glory points only 2 years after stepping in the land of inheritance, had just died. The news shocked every race. That was the wing left by the late Blade River Emperor, the onlookers said. A true treasure, that wing. Yes, you're right. That wing is a true treasure. Lots of the heirs from other races were stupefied by the news that Blade River Emperor had just been killed. However, lots of cheering was heard, and even those universe knights watching the fight from afar were staring at the objects in front of Luofeng's palace, especially those huge silver wings. The temptation of a true treasure couldn't be overstated.